Hi, everyone. What is it? It's Tuesday, right? I think I might be on just a. So funny when I come over here into this shot, I see every little hair that's sticking up. And you might notice that this is the first day that there's been enough sunshine. So today, there's actually enough sunshine that I had to close the blinds a little bit. Real actual sunshine, especially after that huge storm that moved through the country and really brought so much real turmoil to people in the middle of the country. It was just a lot of rain and well, no, there was like really big winds. I shouldn't say that because you might be watching from New Jersey or somewhere where it took down a lot of trees and everything. Um, so it is Tuesday. It's April 14th. Oh, well, let's see. We got about 50 or so people. Oh, hi. Good morning, Christy Newberg Getch from Battleground, Washington. Oh, it's beautiful and sunny there. Oh, you West Coasters. I grew up on the West Coast. I grew up in Sacramento, California. And, it wasn't, it was like the biggest news of the year one year when it snowed, you know, around December or something. Okay, we've got some more people joining us. Laura, hi, good morning from Cardiff. Yes, sunny Cardiff by the sea, down by San Diego. And we've got Connie joining us from Nebraska and Sandy Jarrett. Hi, Sandy. Carol Smith from Croswell, I think that's how you say it, Croswell, Michigan. And Sue Jeffries, you're down in Naples, Florida, uh, wishing we would get some rain. Ooh, don't say that to the rest of the country. We got buckets and buckets of rain up here. Um, and of course, Sue, you know that my husband was down at our house in West Palm Beach when this whole thing happened in early March because our son Max, he was on break and they decided to go have like a guys' week. Play a lot of tennis and basketball and go to some games. And then this thing happened, and they were down there. They weren't willing to get on a plane to come back. And I'm here with the other three, with Max, who's with Jeff. I'm here with his twin sister, Kate. They're 16. And then the two younger twins, Kim and Jack. So, by the way, the big news of the day, the really big news of the day, Amazon lifted the ban on delivering. Um, yeah, you look for some good news amidst all the bad stuff. Um, so yesterday and even last week, because you guys have watched me for years, a lot of you, and you remember me, I kind of looked like this all those years on GMA. Then I, was diagnosed with breast cancer, went through chemo, lost all my hair. You saw me that way too, if you saw that People magazine cover. And then my hair grew back out, and at first it grows back totally different. I looked like a chia pet for months, coarse and curly, and it's like, whose hair is growing on top of my head? Because you can see mine straight and limp, and I have to like do a lot to get it to stand up a little. And so I left it. So it finally grew out and it got into the short kind of, that pink. A lot of you would write me and say that my daughter says you look like pink. Um, so I decided I kind of was people. It's a different world today. When we used to have people contact us at GMA, um, there was no internet, there was no email. So they wrote letters, real letters that you put stamps on. And I used to get box loads and box loads of letters at GMA. Like if you did an interview with, what's a good example? Jerry Garcia and Tipper Gore. Tipper Gore, wife of Al Gore, at the time he was vice president. She was on this mission to get labeling on records that you put on a record player. And so that you know if they're, because parents always go and buy those records for their kids, they're the ones with the money. And she wanted parents to be able to know if there was profanity. So Jerry Garcia was like, you can't censor me. like it's freedom of speech. I can sing anything I want to sing. Tipper Gore was like, I'm a parent and I want to know that if you've got a bunch of bad language in your songs, as a parent, I want to be able to know that to decide whether I want to buy your record. And we had him on a few times. It was always like really good debate. You love debates. Kind of like there's a movie out right now. No, it's coming to Hulu, I think. It's called American Woman, if I remember correctly. And we would have, it's all about Phyllis Schlafly, who was against the Equal Rights Amendment for women. She wanted everything to go back to the way it was before, with women staying home and having the babies and cook the meals, and the men to go out and do their thing. And she just got this national debate going. And we would have her on with Eleanor Smeal. God, I can't believe I remember these. Yes, brain, you're remembering. And Ellie Smeal at the time represented NOW, the National Organization of Women. Those two would go at it. And I want to make sure that my daughters watch this. I guess it's a movie. It's either like a special documentary or movie, but I've been seeing, I'm sure you guys have been seeing the ads for it. I think it's coming to Hulu. Anyway, we had all these debates going on. And one day I remember Charlie Gibson walked into and people would just write these letters, and one would say, you wouldn't be in the position you're in hosting this show if it wasn't for the leaders of NOW. And then the other ones, you should be, and clearly you were on the other side. And then I get another box of mail saying, well, you should be more with Phyllis Schlafly. We should keep women. And clearly you were on the side of Eleanor Smeal. They watched it with their own set of eyes, and they decided that I was on one side or another. When it was always our objective back in those days of journalism, it was always Charlie's and my objective when we went on the air and we did any kind of story, but especially a debate like that. The challenge was to elicit the feelings of these two guests, but not to let the public know what side we were on. Television, of course, is a little bit different these days. And I think it just started with all the narrow casting instead of broadband, and getting stations that were so politically on one side or the other. But anyway, so Charlie walked into my office one day and he looked at like these 3 boxes of mail. They were opened up. The mail was all open. And he said, oh man, what story did Joan do that elicited all that mail? And I remember I was in the next room in my office, and my assistant said, oh no, that's just mail about Joan's hair and where she bought her red shoes that she had on the other day. Charlie's like, no way. Like, we would travel the nation. You might remember our bus tours, and we would be all ready to roll into a city and get out of the bus with all these crowds. And we would be prepared because we had read all the research about this town and, ready to say, this is where blah, blah, blah got started, and you're known for this and this. And we'd get out of the bus all prepped, and 2 women in the audience in the gathering of people would say, Joan, we love your hair. Charlie he'd say, enough about her hair. No, she looks like Princess Diana. I mean, this used to go on, and it used to drive Charlie crazy. I'm going to have to see if I can get Charlie one day to come on and talk and do a phone call with me. But so lately, you guys, because you can't get your hair colored, let me see your roots. I'm going to have to do a hashtag on that. And we can't get our hairdressers, so you guys have watched me grow my hair back out. And it's kind of been in that in-between stage. Too long to like stand up anymore, but it's been hard. So, and I see some questions are coming in. Carol Shapiro, you're on your 3rd day of snow. Wow, you guys are really getting it there in Minnesota. Amir says you're doing a great job with your hair. That's my hairdresser. So anyway, a bunch of you have been saying that you like me better this way. Things have gotten so anonymous that when I had my hair in the short little spiky thing, I'd get a lot of you saying, love your hair. And then I'd get this other person that would say, usually men, and they would just be so nasty. One said I looked like one of those little elves or something because my ears stuck out. You can't imagine the things that people will say these days because there's such a hey Jonathan. Jonathan is my publisher. Oh wait, where I don't have a book with me. Well, anyway, I can't do my shameless book plug. Here's for you, Jonathan. Go online. Remember, Amazon is delivering again, and you can also get Why Did I Come Into This Room at joanlundenbook.com. Did I do okay on that, Jonathan? So anyway, a bunch of you have said lately, we like your hair this way. It reminds us of back when you were at GMA. This was me before cancer, basically. So after I read all these lovely comments from all of you yesterday, mixed in with the great comments about Harlan Coben and his new book. A lot of Harlan's fans were with us yesterday. And a lot of you saying that you've gotten my book and you're enjoying it. I'm so happy to hear that. And then a few of you said, and by the way, we really like your hair this way. It reminds us of GMA. And then I called my husband right after my live spot. And he was like, so what'd you do? To try to cut your hair yourself? I said, what? He said, your bangs are all crooked. I thought maybe today we'd just give him a call. What do you think? So, as you know, I told you that Jeff's down in Florida. He was down there when this whole thing broke. He better answer. Come on, Jeff. You got to answer.
We really doing this?
Yeah, we're really doing this, baby. We're really doing this.
Oh, God,
Let me
yes.
introduce you to my husband. Hey,
Yes.
Jeff. So you were watching yesterday too, weren't you, when I was interviewing Harlan Coben?
I've been watching most days. I want the dermatologist back because I'm getting some crow's feet.
Well, I told you, before I told you anything about yesterday's spot, what was the first thing you said to me after you answered the phone?
Oh, that's not really fair.
What was the first thing you said to me when you answered the phone yesterday?
I asked you if you cut your bangs, your own bangs.
And I
then-
told you I hadn't touched my hair with a scissors since the
and
last...
then very sarcastically, which is my way of dealing with stress, I suggested that you bring a mirror up there, that it was worth your life to do that.
Yes, it was worth my life
Yeah.
during
It was
this
getting to that
pandemic.
point. It was getting to that point. Yes, I did say that.
Yeah. You see, when I was on, like all the time, but particularly on Good Morning America, Charlie and I always had what we called our edit button.
Right.
Sometimes when we would go to a commercial, we would say, God, I would like to have said this or that. But we had an edit button, so we knew better. So we never said things, which is why I do live television and you don't. Because
That is correct.
you don't have an edit button.
I don't in my home with the people that I love the most. That is true. I do outside the home. I do outside the home.
And I got all kinds of people saying, love it, you're on with your hubby. That's Rivki. Beth Belot saying hi. Amir is saying, I hear you, Jeff. Jonathan Merck is saying, this is too funny.
I introduced you to Beth Belot, which
Yes.
was the best thing I ever did. And
Yes.
you introduced me to Amir, which was the best thing you ever did.
All right, so Beth Belot, she was on with us the other day. You might remember that she is my fitness trainer. But when I first met Jeff and I went up to Maine with him because he owns summer camps in Maine, and he wanted me to like really fall in love with Maine, because if I fell in love with Maine, I would want to go up there. And if I didn't want to go up to Maine every summer, I wasn't the right girl for him. So I had been up there maybe for one summer, and he said, come and get in the car with me. I want to take you somewhere. And I just got in the car and we went to a trainer, like a gym, and he introduced me to Beth. And he said, grab all the other females at camp, like basically all the wives of my male employees who might be out, solving an issue between two 10-year-olds at 10 o'clock at night. He said, I want you to wear them out so that they will be fast asleep at home. And he said, I'll never.
Well, truth be told, I recognized I had a good old boys culture at the camp.
Yep.
A bunch of guys that had grown up with me at this place, and we were now not socially challenged like you accused me of being in our early years of dating. And so therefore I needed to create an environment where all of us could have our spouses, our better halves, at this camp, and to create an environment where they would equally be happy and fulfilled. So having Beth and you create this culture where women could bond, be together, work out together was amazing. And out of that came your Camp Reveille, which was
That's
outstanding.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Beth really did. She not only helped keep me fit and everything, she really just made going up there here, I'm going to, much more fun. So we have some questions coming in.
Okay.
First,
As long as they're not math.
all right, how did we meet? I'll start it.
Okay.
I went to a deli in our local area here, Rye Ridge Deli. By the way, they're still open on takeout. And I was with Sarah, who's now in her 30s. She must have been about 10.
And Laura Morton.
And Laura Morton, and she's on here today, and she was writing a book with me. I think we were writing Healthy Living at the time.
Yeah.
And you walked in, and I looked up and saw you, and I said to Laura and little Sarah, why can't I meet a nice guy like that? And Sarah said, how do you know he's nice? Out of the mouth of
Right.
babes. And I said, well, look at him. He's got such a great smile. He's like charismatic. But it's not a cocky, egotistical smile. He looks like he's confident, but not cocky. And it was a smile that could like light up the Empire State Building. And so Sarah said, well, then go say hi. And I said, no, it doesn't work that way, Sarah. She said, what do you mean it doesn't work that way? I said, well, women just don't go up to men and say, hi, I'd like to meet you. I'm Joan. She said, well, then how are you ever going to meet him? And I said, well, unfortunately, I'm not. She said, well, that's stupid. So you were looking at me too.
I was. Yeah. So, I mean, it was really pretty easy in that when I say easy, I don't mean you were easy. I don't mean to insinuate anything that's clearly not true.
Yeah, because I wasn't.
No. And I don't make that statement. That's why I want to keep moving. So you were seriously the most beautiful person I had ever seen in my life. And I had two choices. I could either go up to you and meet you and stand the risk of being rejected, or not go up to you and put my head on my pillow at the end of the night and wonder what could have been had I gone up to you. Admittedly, there are a couple of days of my life where I wish I took option B. We have a crazy lifestyle, but I took option A, and I couldn't have been more thrilled to have met you and to still be in your life. So, I mean, I guess, for me, it was the fear of not knowing was greater than the fear of rejection.
That's awesome. Now, somebody wants to know, was Joan different? A question for Jeff. Was Joan different than you expected since she was famous?
I knew who you were, but admittedly I wasn't a morning television person, so I didn't really watch you until after I met you. And it was, I found it refreshing that you were able to have your life, which you always called your ticket to adventure, and then your home life, which was really the most important thing to you, which was the girls and your family. And so I never felt that you were that person on television, as sincere and genuine as you were. You didn't bring it home. And so it was not intimidating at all. As a matter of fact, and you alluded to it, I was more concerned about your ability to transition to my life, which was going to Naples, Maine every summer and being at a camp facility eating grilled cheese sandwiches for lunch, that was more of a concern for me.
Beth says, I remember the hike from hell. We went on this one hike, and Beth tried to tell me it wasn't that big of a hike. We spent the entire day climbing this mountain. And she says, I remember calling Jeff to come and pick you up by helicopter. but but we didn't
Well,
really do
what I
that.
remember was the first year we were dating, and you were sort of getting used to what I did, and you would follow me around a little bit and see what I did, sort of running camp. And there was a boy in the health center had 102 temperature, a little 8-year-old boy away from home for his first time, and I went into his room to see how he was doing, and you came with me. And you were just being yourself, and you were, being nurturing and, loving to him. And he, during letter writing day, wrote a letter home to his mom and dad about this experience. And he said that Joan Lunden came to visit him in the health center and put a cold press on his forehead and was stroking his hair and made him feel all better. And the mother was angry with me. She called me when she got the letter because she thought her son was delusional. And how could I not say that he was sort of having these strange dreams? And that's when I had to tell the mother I was dating Joan Lunden.
And someone says, how did you have the nerve to walk up to me?
I'm good with rejection. I honestly, in all truthfulness, I think rejection is really healthy. And I wasn't going up to you with the intent of rejection. I was hoping for a better result, which I was fortunate to get. But I honestly, I think the things that matter most to us in life and the things that we cherish and love feel so much more tangible, so much more valuable to us when we've had setbacks in our lives, when we haven't always gotten everything we've hoped for, and it just sort of makes the things that we have that much more special. And that's how I live my life.
Someone, Leslie Wheeler Wenkley, you say, love at first sight. That's how my husband and I met also. You know that in my...
Still with them?
Yes, I think she's still with him. And I said, I think my vows, although admittedly it's not original, but I think the first words
That's
of my
fun.
vow was I met him at hello. I fell in love with him. He had me at hello.
Well, so that's another pretty funny quick story is that when Joan and I became engaged, and I said to Joan, we'd been dating 3 years, and I said, will you marry me? And she thought I was, commitment phobic. And I said, will you marry me? And she said, Tuesday. And that wasn't the response I was prepared for. And I
This
said, if
is
you can put
true.
this wedding together by Tuesday, I'll be there. And she had an amazing, an amazing setup. I know Elise Silvestri's probably on. She was right there with you through this. And we had an amazing wedding on Tuesday. And in between the time that I proposed and Tuesday, you brought me to meet Rabbi Gelman
Yep.
from the God Squad from Good Morning America. And Rabbi Gelman was the rabbi who was always joined by the
A priest.
whenever there was a catastrophe, and you would have them on Good Morning America. And I remember in my speech, I was wondering where the catastrophe was that we needed Rabbi Gelman to officiate. But
But
Rabbi
and
Gelman,
you also said, my friends all said it would be a cold day in hell before I would ever get married, and it was cold outside.
by the way, we're a week away from our 20th anniversary.
Yes.
Interestingly, and we Rabbi Gelman had given us instructions to each write our vows at our meeting, and that we would present those vows to each other, at the altar. And you, of course, being the journalist, listening intently, you did. Me being the male, not having necessarily the ability to sort of function, in fact, listen to everything, and I didn't pick up on that. And so as we were lining up in the procession the rabbi or somebody asked for my vows, I had not written them.
Yeah.
And I turned back on the bar before, which was where I was, not that I was drinking, before I lined up to head into with
That's
the ballroom.
that's where you were. Yep.
Where we were lined up. And I wrote out my vows at that time. They were short, they were sweet, but they got us through.
Somebody's saying, will you be together on your anniversary? But we won't be physically together because you're still, like, you and Max are down there. You got the pool outside. It's 90 degrees. You're riding the bike. You're out walking on the golf course.
Right. Well, so, look, we are social distancing. And the truth of this, as long as everything is truthful, which it is, you and I know that I'm here because of Max.
Yeah.
And because when this was all going down, he was starting his spring break. And he's diabetic. He's in the next room. And we wanted him out of the New York metropolitan area.
Yeah, and be safe.
In a safe environment. And so I came here with him.
Yeah.
And we've been on lockdown. And it's a much safer place for him. Of course, he just thinks we're like on a boys trip and doesn't even know about Corona. He's having so much fun. But it's obviously missing you and the other three is a big trade-off.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But we FaceTime all the time. Someone says, Connie Gildersleeve is curious, how long did you and Jeff speak that first day? Well, here's where I should give Laura Morton a lot of credit, because we talked, and you had been at one point, I used to take a house out in the Hamptons every summer because my oldest daughter, Jamie, rode horses, and you had been invited to go to a party that I was having out there, and you said that was kind of the connection when you came to the table. And but bottom line is that you said, well, since I couldn't come, this was the line, okay? Are you ready for his line? Since I couldn't come to your party that day and have dinner there, since I own summer camps for children and I don't ever leave during the summer, maybe I could take you to dinner and we could have dinner another night. At which point, Laura Morton didn't trust that I would have like the chutzpah or the good sense to reach in and, get a pen out and give you my number. So she did. She said, here, let me give you her number. And she wrote on a little piece of scrap paper my number and handed it to you.
Yes. And it was your work number.
Yep.
And I was, and I met you on a Saturday. And I played it cool, and I didn't call until about like 9:02 on Monday morning when you were off the air.
Yeah. And I really was not on a call, but Jill Siegerman, my assistant at the time, said she's on a call, but she'll be off in a minute. And then she proceeded to ask him like 20 questions.
Right.
That gave her enough ammunition that she could go online and really check him out. I knew so much about you by the time I went to dinner with you.
Yeah, no skeletons.
No,
it's all good.
No, it was awesome. All right, well, I see Amir saying, say hi to Max down there.
I will, Amir. I need a little something, buddy.
Yeah, and I need a little something, but the day will come. All of us, everyone at home is dealing with however they look because they can't.
Max, come here a sec. Max.
Get Max. Get him to come in.
Yeah, he won't talk much, but I'll get his face on.
Get him in there. Get him in there. So this is our 16-year-old son.
Hey, Max. Yeah. I have Mom on the line. Come here. Just let her see your face. She doesn't see you enough. Just let her see you right over.
Hey, Max.
There.
Hey, Max. How you doing, my love?
I'm good.
Here, get down a little farther down. Amir is also on the call. He wants to see your hair.
Look how he's letting it grow out. It's very long.
All right.
Great? I cook for him every night, and I make a mean grilled cheese for lunch. I mean, Max is the easiest boy to have down here. He is just, nothing. Like, he just asks for nothing, and I'm cooking a little bit more elaborate than grilled cheese for dinner, but we also bring in. We're surviving.
That's awesome. He's not a bad cook, and he really knows how to barbecue. Jeff the chef.
Yeah.
Remember Jeff the chef? All right. Thanks you. Thank you for sharing Max with us. All right.
Absolutely.
I've been on almost 30 minutes, so I usually close it down right about now. You're a good sport. I love you.
I'm gonna go back to my life down here, but it's I miss you,
I miss
and
you.
this was fun.
All right. Bye, sweetie.
Okay, love you.
Love you. All right. He's such a good sport. I knew I could call him on that. So we'll all keep tabs on him every now and then. All right, everyone. Stay safe. Stay home. We gotta like kick this thing in the butt before we all are willing to go out again. Gotta just hang in there. We need to close it down before we close everything back up. All right. Stay safe. Be well. Namaste.